Hey, what's up guys, Steven here, and today I'm going to show you how to save everybody and Until Dawn. Well, officially save everybody. Unofficially, I don't really know about Josh. So to clear something up before we begin, in order to get this trophy, you do need to find a certain set of collectibles, that being the twins clues, the ones relating to Hannah and Beth. And there are 20 of those. I'll show you where all of those are in this video, but I also got all of the collectibles in this playthrough. So if anybody wants me to make a full collectibles guide for this very old game, just leave a comment. Just a quick tip about the clues, always make sure that you move it around in your hand until the text appears at the top left. If you don't see that, it won't count. That being said, let's get into it. First, it's a good rule of thumb not to kill animals. I'm not completely sure how much effect this has on how things pan out, but there are many things in the game that imply bad things happen to people who hurt wildlife, so let's not. Also, I don't think early on conversations affect the deaths or anything like that, but keep things passive and kind just in case.
Michael, I'm just gonna lay it out, otherwise this whole weekend's gonna suck ass for everyone. This is super awkward, and we all know it. Let's just acknowledge it now and move on, okay?
Alright, so play through the story to this point, and when Chris goes through the window into the Washington basement, it's time to start paying attention. Proceed through the area as normal, but as soon as it starts to look a little more like a house, examine this family picture on the wall, and that will be the first of the Hannah and Beth clues.
That's cool.
The second can be found when you enter the main area of the house. There's a space over to the left that's a bit lit up, and you can find the prom scene photo. Then, if you turn around and go down the stairs, there's a bunch of stuff that glows at the bottom, but what we want is another picture, this time of the siblings at the beach. After that, head up the stairs to the top floor, and instead of going into the bathroom, make a left, then continue on here to this shelf, where there is an award for a film. So from this point you can progress in the story a bit until Jessica has done her fake scream and we take over as Sam. Right as you take control of her, there are two collectibles to get, and both are in Hannah's old room. I went the way you were supposed to go at first, but I think that's good. If you see this hallway, turn around, you've gone too far. It is a bit dark, but the open door to her room is opposite the way you need to go. Once I got into the room, I immediately went past the collectible that's needed and went to this back one here, which wasn't a collectible or a clue, it was more of a fun fact. Anyway, back towards the front you can find a tattoo card with a drawing of the tattoo on Hannah's shoulder. Then towards the back of the room is a walk-in closet, and inside is a compatibility test at a Tiger Beat or something. But that will be it for a little when it comes to clues. Quick note, if you missed or forgot to get the beach photo clue, it's on the table that Josh grabs the flashlight from, and you can examine it before going into the basement. But at this point, you can kick back and relax for a bit because it'll be quite a while before the next clue. Once Mike and Jess get to the cabin, she's going to want to get a fire going because I scared her into a stream.
Oh my God!
But before doing that, there are a couple of clues in this cabin, and one clue relating to the twins. If you go to the end of this hallway next to a pretty badass eagle statue, is a picture of Hannah when she played tennis. Right after this, you'll be back in the mansion playing as Ashley. As soon as you take control, instead of following Chris, head to this table in the back where you can find Hannah's glasses case.
Josh looked really freaked out at the seance.
Then once the two of them find the secret room, you will take control of Chris to explore it, and inside is a portrait of the Washington sisters. More of a picture, really. Now I know this has been a pretty leisurely collectibles run up to this point, not a ton of risk, no one was really in danger of dying, but that's about to change. They do start you off pretty easy though, it's a little further on and it just involves doing well in the QTEs when Mike is chasing Jessica and making sure that he gets to her in a timely fashion. Ideally you want to do it with no mistakes and taking the shorter and more risky routes. I did miss one on this slide down, but thankfully I don't think it mattered because I made it to Jessica and she looked like this. This is good. This scene is fixed. It is only Josh that can fake die here regardless of which way the lever is pushed. But still let Ashley know that you're going to save her, just to play it safe and not risk anything later. Then another quick note, in the next section with Mike, when you get to the part where the dog jumps out at you, make sure not to attack it, because not attacking it gives Mike a friend for the rest of the game. And I acknowledge that this is probably a wolf, but just to keep things simple, I'm going to call it a dog. A little further on, you'll be playing as Matt, walking with the worst character in the world, Emily. They'll cross a wooden bridge walkway thing, and once you're off that, you're supposed to go right to the ledge, but go left instead into this little shack here, and inside you can find a phone as the next twins clue. Then we don't have any more collectibles until the next scene with them in the radio tower. But quickly, speaking of collectibles, next is the Sam level where she's running away in the world's most secure towel. If she is caught here, then she won't be able to access certain collectibles in the next section. I'm pretty sure that none of those are for the twins, so if you want to save time, you can let her get caught. But because I was going for all of the collectibles, I had to let her get away. Moving right along, like I mentioned earlier, the next collectible is in the radio tower, but to get there, you have to make your way safely through the elk that are mean mugging you. Just don't attack the last one, and everybody will survive.
Just walk slow. It's okay.
Once up inside the radio tower, there will immediately be a bluish locker to the left. Open that up for a missing poster of Hannah. There is a second one here that you can only get once the power is on, but first I'm going to loop around the back of the tower and grab the flare gun. Because I wanted to keep everybody happy, I plan to have Matt save Emily later when the tower falls. And in order for him to survive down that path, he needs to be the one that takes the flare gun here. So that being said, once the power is back on, you can come back inside, and on the right is a printer that if interacted with will give you a fresh copy of Beth's missing poster.
Sorry you're still missing too, Beth.
Next, things are about to get dramatic. I keep Emily calm during the radio call so the people on the other end have a clear idea of what's going on and where. Then after that, the supports to the tower are cut and it begins to collapse. Whoops. So, like I said, Matt is going to be a good guy here, even though she doesn't fucking deserve it.
Stop talking! I can't take it!
Stop yelling at me!
While he tries to save her, he doesn't make it to her in time and she falls, but he is able to jump into this little cave here. He doesn't get to explore it much because he's attacked almost immediately and dragged away, only able to save himself by using the flare gun from earlier. The next section is going to be Ashley and Chris exploring the basement and more. There are a ton of collectibles to get here. Thankfully, none of them relate to the twins, so it's nothing you've got to worry about. What you do have to worry about is the end of this section, where the two of them are put into what they think is a life and death situation. It seems one of them has to die, and it is crucial to Chris's survival that he shoots himself here. That doesn't really make much sense saying it out loud, but it keeps Ashley on your good side and makes her save Chris later. Next, we're going to be playing as Emily, and there are actually 6 clues for the twins in this level alone. Play through it until Emily tries and fails to climb this slippery slope, but once she does that, it's time to start. The first one can be immediately found on these wooden boards right here, and that is Hannah's glasses. Next, come forward to this barrel and find a picture of Hannah and her tattoo. Then to the left of the boards where you found the glasses, there's a spot where you can move some things aside to see a survival tally.
That's exactly a year ago.
Things are going to get even more morbid when you round this corner and find a cross with Beth's name on it. A little further, you'll come to this gate on the right. Keep left and go past it. At the end of this path, you can find a locket. After opening the gate, come forward, and I know I don't like Emily, but the next clue would suck to find. It's Beth's head. Now that's all for collectibles for a while, but there are some sticky situations that I want to talk about. First is later on in the same level, Emily will be attacked and chased by a Wendigo. As always, do your best with the QTEs to keep Emily ahead. She'll go up this elevator where you'll be required to hold still. Then afterwards, she will run up this belt, which you need to make sure she goes all the way to the top instead of hiding in one of the side places. I don't know if it was the camera angle here or what, but the top jump I found kind of tricky, so best of luck. Once at the top, Emily will get scratched, which is supposed to happen, and she will essentially zip line down the mountain, and you've escaped. The next sticky part is when the mystery mountain man leads Chris to save Josh. They eventually get attacked by a Wendigo, and Chris is left to fend for himself. First, shoot the Wendigo. I think shooting the guy's flamethrower would kill me, but I also don't know for sure. Continue shooting to keep Chris safe, and eventually he will make it back to the house, where there's a gas can that can be shot for fiery results. Chris will make a break for the door while the coast is clear, and Ashley is waiting for him. This is why it's important earlier for Chris to shoot himself. If he chooses to shoot her, even though they were blanks, she won't forgive him, and just stands there while Chris is murdered in front of her. Next is the big fight in the group when they realize Emily was bitten and decide what to do with her. When controlling Mike with a gun, don't shoot Emily. After all of that goes down, Mike is going to have to travel through the Sanatorium, the creepiest part of the game. During this, there will be a couple of Wendigo that lash out but aren't able to hit Mike. If one's coming for you but it's behind bars or tied up by a chain, then just let it come and save the ammo for later in case you need it. Mike will get to this metal bridge and be somewhat trapped, but tip the barrel and give it a shot to get 2 kills. Then, since we want everyone to survive, make sure to barricade the door before moving on. It doesn't matter for Mike, but if you don't do that, then the dog dies, which nobody wants. Last tip for this bit, at the end, don't wait to shoot the Wendigo back first. Just immediately blow it up. After that, we see Jessica alive for the first time in a while, something we knew, but it's still nice to see. Soon after, the group is marching along through the tunnels, and Ashley gets left behind a little bit. She's going to come to this decision, and for the trophy, it's just best not to investigate. I did because there were some unrelated collectibles this way that I needed to get, but even if you feel the need to investigate it first and do come this way, which you can, do not open the latch that's in this room. If you do this, Ashley loses her head. Right after that, she rejoins the group, and we get a cutscene to show us that Josh is doing just fine too. They're all going to split up, and Sam goes to find Mike alone. She eventually does, and when the next chapter begins with them, they are in front of a large body of water that you have to wade through to continue. Before getting in the water, there is a path leading to the left, and if you follow that back, you can grab our first clue in a while, which is Beth's watch. The next clue we're going for is actually the final clue, and it isn't too far away. Once you get into the water, the game wants you to go forward and to the right a bit, but instead hug the left wall until the camera changes and you find this area. Here there is a not so obvious ledge that can be climbed. Once you're up there, on the ground is a journal that once flipped through should give the trophy for finding all of the twins' clues. Also, Sam and Mike will piece together what happened to them and explain, just in case you weren't able to piece it together yourself by this point. So all that's left is to survive. Shouldn't be too hard, right? First off, Sam and Mike are going to find Josh and then split up as Sam climbs and the boys walk out the way Mike and Sam came in. When going through the water, the Wendigo is going to attack and take Josh, but this does not mean he's dead. The Wendigo takes him, yes, but with the clues discovered, Josh recognizes the Wendigo as Hannah, and that changes what happens to him when he's carried off. Next up is Matt, and he runs into Jessica in the mines. This section is all around pretty easy, but there are some decisions to make related to survival. They begin to make their way out but are chased by a Wendigo. When it gives you the option to either hide or run ahead, make sure that you hide with Jessica. And then similarly, a little further on, you'll get the option to abandon her or hide with her. Select to hide with her again. Otherwise, one of them will die, if not both. We are coming right up on that finish line. There's only one more section to see everybody through, and then we're finished. Okay, so everybody makes their way back to the house, Mike and Sam through the front door, and the rest running and screaming from the basement. Once everybody runs back upstairs, it's time to stop that running, because multiple Wendigo are in the room, and we have to keep still to survive. The Wendigo start fighting, causing a gas line to be broken, and an idea to start to form in Mike's head. The main thing you need to worry about here is just getting everybody out. The house is going to be blown up, killing everything inside, so it's good that while Mike breaks the bulb, Chris makes his escape. Next will be several moments of options, but always choose the one that isn't running to the switch. And there's actually no need to keep track of who left and possibly who's still inside, because as soon as everybody is out, Sam will automatically run for the switch, igniting the explosion. And that's it. With a zoom out, we see everybody's okay and the credits begin to roll. As a nice bonus to this trophy, if you were still missing the trophies to save all of the boys or save all of the girls, then you will get them here too. The death montage at the end is a pretty short one, and we move to everybody giving their accounts of the event. And then at the very end, we see what happened to Josh. I hope that everyone was successful in getting this. The less dramatic moments kind of feel like a drag when going for a trophy like this, but it definitely was satisfying to have everyone make it out in the end. So, thank you so much for watching. Once again, good luck, and until next time.